You aren't going to believe what the Chinese are saying about silver. Can you imagine this? Being worth $100. How does that make you feel? We know Keith Neumeyer's been calling for triple-digit silver for years, but now the Chinese are making big noise, calling out the silver market, and it's something that we need to pay attention to and something that could lead to much, much higher prices. This was first reported by James Anderson from SD Bullion. I'm going to put a link to his video in the description below. I'd recommend you go check it out after you hear what I have to say. Wow, the Chinese are not happy about the situation in the silver market. In an open letter to the Buy Chinese news agency, it's been called for international silver market reform. They call out the leverage used by the LBMA and the COMEX. China needs more silver for industry, for manufacturing. They're saying that the silver supply that we currently have, including new silver coming onto the market from mining, will completely dry up within 20 years. Recycling, it's completely uneconomic at the current price level. We need higher prices. Thank you, China. We know that, right? We've been talking about that for a long time. The fundamentals within the silver market are absolutely crazy, but there's a lot more that they had to say. They said demand is going up while supply is going down. It will kill industry and innovation. It will kill the progress of technology unless we get more silver. And the only way that we can get more silver is if we have significantly higher prices. They point out the obvious and something we also already know. The COMEX and the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association, are no more than gambling venues. They rely on trivial data points, and yes, they actually brought this up, things like employment reports and debt limit to affect the price of precious metals, and like they said, it's just trivial. It is just crazy. It ignores the fundamental facts underlying the silver market and that the price of silver should be much higher. And it gets super interesting when they bring up the need for an OPEC type organization for the silver industry. What would we call that? OSEC, the Organization of Silver Exporting Countries. This is why they say we need it, to stop exploitation and selling cheap, to constrain the mining companies, to put quotas in place, and to limit production if necessary. Because otherwise, with the current state of the market, with the LBMA and the COMEX and the miners working by themselves willy-nilly, we're headed for a situation where we're going to run out of silver. They say we need price protection measures, right? To stop dumping. 3-digit silver or higher. Triple-digit silver. What they're talking about is raising the price of silver and managing the production to make sure that the world has enough to satisfy its needs in the future. But the only way that's going to happen is with a much, much higher price. Because, guys, we've talked about this ad nauseum. At this current price level, there's no money going into silver exploration, development, new mines being built. Very, very little. We're headed to a situation where the world will run out of silver, and I applaud the Chinese for pointing that out. Triple-digit silver would help eliminate waste because it would stimulate recycling. It would eliminate unprofitable mining. And then they go on to point out that what goes on the COMEX and the LBMA, the gambling with the paper electronic, yes, we like to call it unicorn fart dust silver, that should be categorized as commercial fraud crimes and that naked short selling should be eliminated. We got a lot more to cover, but I think we so far agree with what the Chinese are saying. One thing I also think we can agree with is that you are always welcome here in Ron's Basement. I hope you come back. I hope you found a little home away from home, somewhere you feel like you belong, because you are welcome here. Please subscribe to the channel. That helps, and give this video a thumbs up. Gold is silver's big brother. Let's touch on that in regards to the Chinese as well. We know the Chinese are accumulating gold at a very fast pace. In May, they accumulated another 16 tons of gold, and that's so important when we consider three factors. Number one, China is the second largest economy in the world. They're becoming an economic superpower, not far behind the United States of America, and they're one of the fastest growing economies in the world. And finally, we need to consider the big story of the next decade, the splitting of the world, the bifurcation, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, starting their own currency so they can trade amongst themselves outside of the US dollar. And they want that new currency to be backed by real assets. That would include silver, that would include gold. Now let's move on to some additional Chinese state media reports that specifically focus in on silver. Reporters visited several Chinese smelters, talked to the employees there, and the story was the same. They're working overtime to try to satisfy the growing demand for silver in China. They quoted the silver deficit numbers, the ones we know from the Silver Institute. This year alone, what is it, 200 million, 300 million ounces shortfall in the silver supply? They also talked about the waning supplies in the warehouses of places like the LBMA and the COMEX. They're seeing growing demand from investors, from industry, even from jewelry. Then, one of the plant managers went on to say that in the short term, sure, the silver price can be impacted by things like Fed policy, employment numbers. But he went on to say that in the medium to long term, there's no doubt we're going to have higher silver prices. Do you agree with what the Chinese are saying? I do. I think they are spot on. And again, I applaud them for pointing this out. The world needs more silver, and more importantly, the world needs significantly higher silver prices. I agree with the $100 silver call. Do you agree with the Chinese? Do you agree with the $100 silver call? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Thanks for being here, and go watch a live stream.